Welcome back. In this section, we're going to be talking about value constraints. So here you see we have a promotions table and a movies table. And we need to associate specific promotions with our movies. How might we do that? Well, we could put a title column inside our promotions table and reference the movie that way, but that would be duplicating data. Feels dirty. But a better way to do this would be to reference the movie's primary key, that ID column, from the promotions table. So here you can see we've created a movie ID column, and that references the ID column in the movies table. When creating these types of references, there's a common naming convention. We singularize the table we're referencing, in this case movie, and then we use an underscore followed by the column name, in this case ID. There's a name for this type of column, and it's a foreign key. A foreign key is a column in one table that references the primary key column in another table. So in this case, the movie ID column is a foreign key referencing the primary key column, in this case ID, of the movies table. Using these new tables, how do you think I would find promotions for the movie Gone with the Wind? Well, I would have to do two queries. First, if I didn't know it already, I would have to find the ID for the movie Gone with the Wind, like so. That would return the value 2. I can then use that value in a second query on the promotions table to get the name and the category, and I would need to specify the foreign key movie ID equals 2. What would happen if we inserted a new promotion and specified an invalid movie ID, in this case 999? It would work. It would actually insert this row. But of course, if we looked in our movies table, we wouldn't see any movie with the ID of 999. The solution to this problem is a foreign key constraint. But before we get into that, we need to take a look at our create table statements. Here you see we have create table movies. We have ID as the primary key. We haven't seen that before until now, but ID is the primary key. Then down in our create table promotions statement, you can see we now have a foreign key called movie ID. And let's add the new constraint. All we have to do is say movie ID int references movies ID. That creates our foreign key constraint. It's important to note here that if you create a foreign key constraint like this, it needs to be referencing a table that has already been created. So in this case, the movies table had to have been created first. Now if we go back to our tables and we try to insert a promotion referencing a movie that does not exist, one with an ID of 999, we properly get back an error, saying that our insert violates our foreign key constraint. There's a slightly shorter way to define a foreign key, and that is we don't have to specify the column. So here by default it's going to use the ID column as the foreign key. We can also create a foreign key constraint by using the table constraint syntax, like you see here. Another problem that you often run into with relational database tables is you have orphan records. Let me show you what that means. Here we have our movies table and promotions table, and a movie with an ID of 6 and a promotion associated with that movie. What happens when that movie of ID of 6 gets deleted? Well, that promotion still sticks around, yet it has no movie it's associated with. It's called an orphan record, and it's bad data. The solution to orphan records is using a foreign key constraint, which we've already added to our promotions table. So if we go to delete a movie that has a promotion associated with it, our database isn't going to let us. It's going to give us back an error, which looks like this. Notice this error message at the bottom even tells us key ID equals 6 is still referenced from the table promotions. So if we want to delete this movie, we first need to delete the promotion with the movie ID equals 6, and then we can delete the movie, and the database will let us. Another way we might end up with orphan records in our database is if we drop a table, and other tables are referencing items in that table. So if we tried to drop the table movies, it would error out, telling us the constraint in our promotions table depends on the table movies. So we first have to drop the promotions table, and then we can drop the movies table. I want to teach you one last constraint. Here we are in our movies table, and we have that duration column back. And we can put any number into that duration column, even negative numbers. But that doesn't make any sense. The Wolfman Lives is not negative 10 minutes long. The check constraint allows us to validate the value that can be placed in the column. So in this case, we can say check, that's the check constraint, duration greater than 0. And then if we go to insert a movie that has a duration that's negative, we'll get back this error saying that we violated the check constraint. Time for you to jump into the challenges because you only truncate once, and I'll see you in the next level. You're enjoying your constraints.
So where are you going with this?
I don't know.
Okay. It's not going in the microphone, right?